Hi, Dan.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. You?
I'm great, thanks. To be honest, I'm pretty excited as we're launching our Patreon over the next week.
Yes, what an absolute treat to start 2023 with. I'll tell you what, though, before we start, I'm parched. Do you have any drinks?
I don't. But our listeners could treat us to a dandelion and burdock every month to keep us hydrated for the podcast.
Sounds good, but what would they get out of it?
Well, for just £3 a month, they could get a full video episode with behind-the-scenes preamble and post-show chat every week. And let me tell you, that's
Wow.
usually a real treat.
That sounds like a real treat. That sounds awesome. I'm well up for that, but I don't need to because I'm involved. I don't need to pay.
No, but they'd get that a day earlier than everybody else with release on a Tuesday.
Surely, in that case, they'd also get the podcast version a day earlier as well.
Absolutely.
I'm concerned now we've become sellouts and decide to have adverts featured on the podcast. People will come for us with pitchforks.
Well, in this tier, they'd get the episode ad-free.
Excellent. Surely they can't get anything else in this tier.
Not really. Only an extra wrap-up podcast at the end of each season where we watch interviews and performances from the era we've discussed, and one watch-along episode a month where we'll watch and discuss a classic gig, film, or anything Arctic Monkeys related.
What, like Glasgow 2013, Live at the Apollo, Scummy Man, or Submarine?
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many more. But I'm not done yet. We'll also be putting out special birthday party episodes on each band member and associated band members' birthdays. And do you know what's good about that?
What's good about that?
Alex's is the 6th of January.
Amazing. Sounds like that'd be a great date to launch the Patreon then, with an Alex Turner birthday party episode ready and waiting for our patrons.
As always, Nick, you read my mind.
It's an amazing tier. And again, you get all that for just £3 a month.
Yep.
I don't see what else the next tier could possibly offer on top of that.
Well, if you're now well hydrated and you fancy grabbing a pint with me, our listeners can treat us to one in our local, the Cornerstone.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
For just £5 a month, our listeners can access our Cornerstone tier and get all the great features already referenced on the previous tier. Plus, and I'm excited about this,
I'm on tenterhooks here. Or rusty hooks, as it were.
Nice. Well, our Cornerstone patrons will also get a monthly Last Shadow Puppets podcast where we'll do a deep dive into a track from the beginning of the catalogue all the way to the end.
Amazing. B-sides and all.
B-sides and all.
Wow, that's just outstanding. So all the previous features and the Shadow Puppets pod. Incredible.
Well, also, each subscriber gets to pick any song from any band or artist that doesn't feature an Arctic Monkeys member in the act or production, and we'll put the songs into a prize draw once a month. So, for example, you might pick Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. The winning subscriber will get a podcast in our format on that song. They'll stay in the prize draw until they win, and will refresh annually.
This all sounds amazing. Well, apart from the Ariana Grande bit, but yeah, that's a me issue. So, we're launching on Alex's birthday?
Yes, on the 6th of January, come to our Linktree or socials to access Patreon, where you can choose your tier of choice. Once you've signed up, you'll immediately start seeing the benefits with the Alex Turner birthday party episode.
This is all very exciting.
Isn't it just?
Well, we hope you're all as excited as we are and can help support us throughout 2023 and beyond. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned. We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hey there, Swifties. Are you ready to shake it off and talk about the new album? Sorry, wrong show. That's later. At midnight, specifically. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special episode of Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast that promises to cover the entire Arctic Monkeys discography. Usually, we're strictly chronological here. We released a View from the Afternoon this week, and the episodes for Dance Floor, Fake Tales, and Dancing Shoes are all recorded and ready to go. But with this being the most anticipated day in the Arctic Monkeys calendar, we couldn't let it pass without sharing our early thoughts on the brand new album. So, settle in for the next hour and let's go through track by track with me, Nick Lee, and him over there, Dan Holt. Dan, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. What a great day it is. I've got the mirror ball out. I've got the vinyl there. I'm listening to it on vinyl. Sounds perfect. got a beer. Never drank before on this, so we'll see how that goes. But start ranting about Alex.
Yeah.
Not that I don't anyway every week. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'll be a
One of
difference.
the difference.
Yeah, what a momentous occasion it is. I'm very excited. And I forgot you are a Taylor Swift fan, aren't you? With the
I like
reference
Taylor
there.
Swift. Yeah.
I've
Not
never-
to the same extent as Arctic Monkeys, but
No, that would be crazy.
Right.
I don't. Even if she is bringing out AM2 for all the anyone that doesn't like this can go listen to that. It's AM2. Yeah, no, I've never listened to her. If I'm being completely honest, I know that I sound mad considering she's one of the world's biggest artists. But my girlfriend has a particular hatred towards her, so I've only just managed to get her into Arctic Monkeys. I don't want to start listening to Taylor Swift and put her off and scare her away. So yeah, well, I've only just got her to like me, to be honest. So yeah, but no, enough about her.
and Taylor, are your
yeah.
girlfriend?
Both. It's Arctic Monkeys time. Yeah.
It's like Christmas, isn't it? It's like Christmas Day, except on Christmas Day you don't get like 10 new Arctic Monkeys songs. So what's winning?
I'd rather
Christmas Day. I think we
This is
know
better.
what's better.
Christmas Day. I don't really like Christmas Day. I like the bit. I love Christmas, but Christmas Day is the worst part of Christmas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's too much going on. You got to go see your family. You don't really have fun. You
Yeah.
drink too much too early, and then you just feel sick after you've eaten and you fall asleep. I prefer the build up because every night's a night out when it's Christmas, isn't it? Every night's like, oh, well, it's Christmas. We can do it.
yeah.
Monday morning, 10 a.m. Oh, it's Christmas.
Still hanging on till like the 29th of December. So it's New Year, isn't it? It's nearly New Year.
As if any international listeners didn't know, everyone in the UK is an alcoholic. Like by your country standards, we'd actually be an alcoholic in your country, I think, for the amount that we drink. So
Yeah.
It is
And over
like-
here, it classifies as just a tipple.
It's
like
it's a
life
fortnight out,
threatening
isn't it?
alcoholism in another country. It's like just a little tipple to
Just a
wet the
quiet
whistle.
night.
over here.
Actually, just for our listeners, just to hear this. So I had a couple of tipples, and last night, and the album obviously came out at midnight, and I came back and I cracked it on in some headphones, drunk in the living room. Girlfriend was asleep in the bedroom. I was dancing. I turned this mirror ball that I'd bought for this on, turned it on, 2 a.m., dancing around my living room, singing it to my dog with the headphones on. It was great, actually. Don't know if the dog enjoyed it, but you know.
If you want to get in touch and let us know how you what animal you sang the album to first, then get in touch. Go in the episode description, and there will be a link there to all our links. You can also email us arcticmonkeyspodcast@gmail.com. Lots of people have been emailing us. I tell you
Yes.
what, Dan, the emails have been literally coming in.
They have been coming in. Live from a
literally.
bath, one of them.
Yeah,
A bath email. That was exciting.
which
Enjoyed
kind
that.
of
Isaac, if you're out
humbles you. Yeah, it humbles you a bit, but it
Humbles
also
you.
kind of makes you feel a bit like, hey,
there.
I need to get that alarm sorted out.
Yeah, I was also trying to squeeze in there when you were saying about the animals. So if you sang it to any dangerous animals, let us know. So yeah, just to get that in there. Yeah, so that's two now.
Oh, smooth. Well, without further ado, I think the best thing to do is to move on to the album. But first, I'm
This album.
taking over one of your features, like apropos of nothing, and it's the
Yeah.
feature that we affectionately know as the information action ratio.
My part on this
Deep
podcast
place to
was
go.
strenuous enough without you taking over bits of my.
Yeah. Well, as we get into this show, we're soon going to realise I'm just so blindsided and bewildered by the album that I have literally no thoughts. So onto the information action ratio. Midnights is the 10th studio album by American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift, released on October. Oh shit, that's for later again. Got that out to throw it away. The Car is the 7th studio album by English rock band Arctic Monkeys, released on 21st of October 2022. That's today, by Domino Recording Company. Forgotten the roots. Ugh.
Full name there.
It was written by band frontman Alex Turner in his Los Angeles home. It was produced in Suffolk, Paris, and London by regular Arctic Monkeys collaborator James Ford, alongside frequent guest musicians Tom Rowley, Lauren Humphrey, and Tyler Parkford. It was arranged by Bridget Samuels and Alex Turner. Drummer Matt Helders took the picture on the album cover, which depicts a white car in an empty parking lot. The car builds upon the sound from the band's previous album, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. It features a wide array of genres that include orchestral rock, lounge pop, baroque pop, and funk, as well as elements of jazz. I'm here
Baroque
for all that.
pop.
It also draws influence from soul music, electronic music, glam rock, bossa nova, traditional pop, and vintage film soundtracks. Would you agree with that, Dan?
I'm particularly intrigued by Baroque pop. If I know how to spell it, I'd Google it. I don't even know what that is. Is it in my head, I changed it to Bacharach pop, and I was like, oh, it's Burt Bacharach style.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
Which
fits
it
that
could be.
well, yeah. Definitely fits that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I
Go
was just going to, because you mentioned, because I thought we'd have a little brief chat about it as a whole, just as a little. You mentioned the cover photo taken by Helders that Alex was drawn to and put us there, but the whole album makes me think of like a 70s spy thriller, and that picture on the cover, when I first saw it, even back in where it was August, wasn't it, at the end of August, when this podcast was born, that when I saw that, it reminded me of like if I was to watch like a French Connection or something like that from the 70s, and there'd be like a slow zoom in on the car, and it would zoom in on the white car, and then something would happen after that. Like that, that's just the vibe I got straight away from it. And it's funny that I thought that, and without hearing any of the music, and now the music kind of fits that idea as well. So I'd say they nailed that. If that's a independent thought that I had. So well done, boys, is what I'd say. Well done, lads. If that's what you intended, which I don't know.
Independent thoughts. Yeah, that's it's kind of a direction he's been pushing in both with the band and with his side projects as well for a number of years, and this is it in full flow. That the whole cinematic landscape that's laid out is, it's beyond what I expected. That's why I'm so blindsided by it, because normally on my first couple of listens, I'd pick out lyrics that I love. That's what I kind of look for first. But I'm just so blown away by the strings, everything that's going on. Like it's mental.
If I'm being honest, like I think, I don't want this to sound like I'm saying anything previous was lesser, but I do feel like this is them I think I said to you that graduating as artists, like, when you think of like a Radiohead or someone that have this artiste about them, and they'll go and do what they want, and they'll put this really well made album together that's full of like little intricacies, and I feel like that's what they've done for. And I know Tranquility Base had a bit of that, but I feel like this is and that's why when I know some people are sort of saying about it feels like maybe the end of the band, and this is like a sunset, which I don't think there's anything in, because they've addressed that and said it's not. I actually think this is the beginning of something. I think this is them, because they, as we're covering in our other podcasts, starting at the beginning, they learned together, they've grown as musicians, and this is them becoming the artists that are really doing something special with the music. And I think this is going to be the beginning of a long array of albums where they just get more technically better and doing all this interesting work. And, and I think, and that's not to say anything before I don't love, because that I do, but I just think this is them proper grown-up musicians, like doing some stuff, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost a composition as opposed to a collection of songs. It's, I mean, they've always been a band that have kind of fit the albums kind of told something of a story. They've kind of structured the albums well, that it is a full experience, but it just comes to the fore so much on this album. And that's the thing though. You don't know. I wasn't expecting heavy riffs and stuff like that. I think that's mostly been and gone now. But to get this is just beyond my wildest dreams.
Yeah, and I think as we go through it now, I think Helder said this in an interview last week that there's still a through line, they feel, from the beginning to this, which is interesting for us to have, and I think that's true. So it's interesting for us to be doing that on this podcast as we go, because I think there is, and I think that as we go through it, there's elements still of who they are. And I think this is actually something special that they've produced, more so than before. And I know people say, well, you say that every time, Dan, you're obsessed, but I do think this is something special in a different way, something like beautiful even, is what I'm going to say. And I've had half a beer. I'm not getting emotional already, but this is genuinely how I feel.
Well, don't get emotional. I ain't like you.
Hey!
Have yourself, that links us in very nicely.
Very nice. Well done.
So, side one, track one. This is
what a great day.
Be a mirror ball.
So do you wanna walk me to the car? I'm sure to have a heavy heart. But can we please be absolutely sure that there's a umbrella ball for...
Yeah,
there we go.
That sums it up. What you were doing then when it kicked back in absolutely sums it up. Silky smooth. I instantly love this, and I'm predisposed to because I've always been a big fan of swing music and Sinatra and big band stuff. So I've always been a huge fan of that and crooning, and so I was predisposed to already like this because it's kind of what he's doing. But no, I instantly loved it. I think it's one of his best vocal performances ever, and that is saying something on this album. There are plenty of those, but because I always thought his best vocal performance before that was with the Shadow Puppets for Sweet Dreams. TN was maybe his best vocal performance before, but yeah, just crooning to the max. Big band stuff, but with a contemporary feel still. It does have that old feel the whole way through, but I do think there is you wouldn't mistake it for an old song still. It's got a contemporary feel to it. Yeah, I mean, I've got a few more things to say, but what's your kind of thoughts on this one?
I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Like even when I just heard it as obviously that was the first track that was released in isolation, the first single. And even when I heard it then, I was the same as you. I was fully on board straight away. And then listening to it in the context of the full album, it's just the ultimate opener.
Yes, and no, you're quite right when you say that it's gorgeous, and it does, like when you hear it every time, even though it's another time you've heard it, it's not the first time you've heard it, it still has that effect on me of like, I always think it's like a couple of whiskey sway. I do a kind of sway to it. You can't help but like do a little sway in the living room to it. But in fact, to say, I have a friend that's not into this kind of music. It's like heavy metal fan, stuff like that. And doesn't really have a high opinion of Arctic Monkeys. In fact, has a very low opinion of them, if I'm honest. But we were out for my girlfriend's birthday around the time this came out. And we were in my living room at about 2 a.m. And I went, I'm going to play you this new Arctic Monkeys song. Because I know he likes other types of music as well. And it started and he went, oh. And he went, oh. And he was like, oh, this is... And he was like, oh. And then me and him ended up ballroom dancing around the living room at 2 a.m. to it. So I mean, nothing sexual happened after that. It was, purely friendly, but it was
like a trying.
I mean, it's 2022. We could have. You can't say anything, Nick. But no, I think it's that kind of vibe, and people, and I think anyone. I keep meaning to play this to like my nan or something because I think they'd get it as well and they'd enjoy it. It's got that kind of vibe. My granddad, but the bass as well. That you think like the bass is. So I wrote something in my notes and it's been autocorrected to Viking, and I don't know what that was, but no, it says the bass is really Viking. Oh, vibing. There we go.
I was going to say, I thought you were just having flashbacks to Glastonbury 2007. On is that Balaclava on it where he shouts there's a Viking.
There's a Viking, yeah. See, he's always in my head, whatever's happening. He's in my computer now. The bass is really vibing, and the way the strings dip in and out, which is something that happens a lot on this, is, and I heard at the time that this one lyrically, people were saying it was like a grown-up Mardy Bum. But I said to you, I actually think it's more of a grown-up Do Me a Favor. I think if you were going to make a comparison, because I know Mardy Bum isn't really about a breakup of a sense, is it? It's just about a bad relationship and an assumed breakup. But Do Me a Favor is actually about breaking up with someone in a car. So the fact that this one is maybe about a breakup to a car, I do think there's a double meaning. I don't know how much we want to get into that because we will cover this eventually. But I think it's a double meaning that they play on with the whole being about their musical style, even with the music, right? So at the start, the kind of bit and then a dint. I think that bit sounds a lot like Tranquility Bass, and then when it comes in with the drums after the stops, it sounds completely different. And I think in a way that with them, like a little bit of a troll maybe, or a little bit like that was that sound, but this album isn't going to be that sound. It's going to be graduated from that sound, but it's not going to be the same by any stretch. And I think I saw Alex saying this one was one of the first ones they had written, and they've had it for a long time, and it's changed over a period. So that kind of makes sense. Maybe if he wrote it around the Tranquility tour, and then it kind of changed into this other song. But yeah, no, sets the tone and the mood very well, as you said, as an opener.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of the ones we've got a video for, I think, which always elevates tracks a bit more. I think when you've got a video that
Great
fits in
video.
so well with the song, as they do. Yeah, brilliant, isn't
Directed
it?
by Alex, but I think they said they just had this was it like a 16mm or something while they were recording in the it's like called the Butler Priory. Is it the Priory? Or something? It's called like the Butler something, isn't it? The place where they did it. And do you remember like about a year and a half ago, the place tweeted, like they put on their website that a band was there recording and everyone jumped on it knowing it was Arctic Monkeys, and then it deleted, it mysteriously vanished because Domino must have rang up going, take that off the fucking website. Yeah. It's the biggest band in the country and you're putting a fucking but yeah, and what intrigued me was in an interview they said they were only there for 3 weeks, and I'm like, how the fuck could you? I know they then honed it at different places and stuff, but even just to nail down anything, it took me 3 weeks to do an intro to one of these songs. Well, it wouldn't even happen. But 3 weeks, I was like, God, I thought you'd be there for about 6 months trying to do it. But obviously, I know they went to Le Fret and everything, didn't they, to hone it? But
yes, so that's doing it.
But yeah, no, I think doing it in England, and I'll get to this later on, but I do think that recording it in England has an impact on it in the way that LA had an impact on AM. I would say it has the same impact on it personally. But yeah, no, I absolutely, this might be, so far, I'd say this is still my second favorite on this album. It's still hanging in there as one of my faves.
Yeah, just a little bit more background on Butley Priory. They chose it's an old monastery on the Suffolk coast, and they chose that as a new studio after attending several events there. The decision was also inspired by the Great British Recording Studios, a book gifted to Turner by album engineer Lauren Humphrey, where he saw pictures of the Stones' mobile studio unit. With producer Ford, the band rented it out and transformed it into a studio, whilst also living on site during the recording. Turner described the place as remote, with the sessions reminding him of their first record, which was also partly recorded in the English countryside. Turner also recounts that there were no distractions like in the city, extra focus, no prying eyes. Later, vocals and overdubs were recorded at Le Fret in Paris, where Turner picked up his 16mm movie camera and captured footage of the band at work. Ford was apparently happy with Turner's hobby as it kept him away from meddling too much with the recording. Too many cooks do indeed spoil the broth.
Those meddling kids.
Too much messing about does fuck up the chili, as we say in my house.
Yep. No, that's great. You're coming with your facts and your information on something that's brand new.
I don't mess about, mate. I've had nothing to do all day but listen to this album and search extra information. Yeah.
By the way, you've not been well this week. You sound much better. I'll just get it out there now. And people can hear a reference to that in about 5 weeks on another episode we've recorded. So look forward to that.
That's what I'm going for.
But yeah, no, I think I've said I have a great love for this song. And yeah, I think I've said all I'm going to say. My favorite lyric on this one and my favorite musical moment are at the same point. So my favorite lyric is "You're getting cynical and that won't do." The way he says it, I just think is perfect, and just a great line. Makes me think so much. But the point that he says that, where the music stops and the drum comes back in, is also my favorite music. That whole piece is my favorite bit, I'd say.
Music. I've not really got a favorite lyric yet, but musically, I like the bit that was in that clip actually, where the strings come in just as he's singing. Do you want me to the car? That's that's
a great. It's a magical moment. Yeah, when they come in fully towards the end. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and I like in the video they cut that at the same point as he's like got his arms up doing that. It was like, bring the strings in, bring me the strings. Should we? I mean. Yeah, we should probably move on. It's supposed to be like, I feel like it's going to be like, it's supposed to be an instant take on each song, but we're going to be about 4 hours of rambling.
What we'll do, we'll just keep this recording, and then when we come on to all these songs, I'll just split it up and release them all separate. Track 2 and an early favourite, one of 2 early favourites for me. It's "I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am."
Strobes in the stumbling blocks. Wait, there's the other island now. Formation displays of affection fly over. I fall back and I can see both islands now.
right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is. Do you know what the drums are? And I said this. Me and my friend were talking about before because he had the same impression. But you know the very drums at the very start, the way it comes in. When you listen back, they made me think straight away about the Drake cover. I don't know why. Like, when you listen back, just think of the way it sounds the same at the start, the Drake cover, and I was like, but yeah, no, I'm not going to credit Drake as having any influence on this, but yeah, tune. I said straight away, Bowie, Young Americans album is all over it. He's got his like Fascination or something like that. I think if someone didn't know that album or this song and you slipped it into that album, they wouldn't bat an eyelid. I don't think they'd notice the change in the middle. I think it's got it all. It's got Bowie's paw prints all over it.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Mickey paw prints.
His Stardust. I should say that. It's got his Stardust all over it, I'd say. There you go.
The Stardust from the star, man. You can't beat it, can you?
No. What about you?
It's early favourite of mine. It was when it was released as a single. Probably my favourite of the three singles, I think. Along with one of the others, which we'll get onto in a bit. But I had this feeling before the album came out, and now I've listened to it. That's definitely. I had a feeling it was going to be the heaviest song on there as soon as I heard it, and I'd certainly go along with that. I think
heavy in sound.
In terms of people wanting actual guitars as opposed to pianos and strings, it's certainly the most guitar heavy song, I think, and doing something on guitar that they've not done before across the other albums.
Yeah, they've cracked the old wah-wah pedal funk out, aren't they, for this one?
Yeah, it's about bloody time, lads.
But I still think it has a little bit of AM in it, like definitely. But yeah, no, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I think there's another one that you could argue with the guitars. I mean, acoustic guitars are all over it and stuff as well. But I know what you're trying to get at. But yeah, I don't think anyone that's been moaning about. Not moaning. I'm not saying it's not a fair criticism, but saying about them not having as many guitars and drums at the forefront of Tranquility Base, they can't really argue with that. It might not be the guitar drums that you want, but they're certainly all over it. And particularly, this is one of them. I did think there was a little bit of Tranquility in this lyrically with the sci-fi stuff. So the tech, I think he says, the opening line. Let me just because I'm not as au fait with it, so I don't know off the top of my head at the moment. But freaky keypad by the retina scan. You think I thought straight away about Face ID. On your phone. That's what he's getting at there, surely, right? Like, that's what he's referencing, which reminds me a lot of the similar references in Tranquility Base that he makes like that about technology. Great way of describing it. Great Helder's falsettos in this. Not that we've come to, which is everything that I've come to expect.
Quite
Helder.
Another one. That's up there as one of his best bits of falsetto work as well for me.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very 70s disco as well. That particular.
I shit you not. I wrote in my notes here. Made me want to dance round a roller rink in the 70s. So there you go. You get that, yeah.
Shall we fuck this off?
Austin Powers Gold member, No, yeah, it's got that. It's absolutely like that. And I think there was that was it. So there's a line. He says, "The spare set of tingles will race up your spine if I get my way," which I really loved as a line, just on like just hearing it and going, oh. But I do think, and go back and listen to this. I think this song might be about how he lives between the UK and France at the moment. That's what I got off it straight away when I was because when the vinyl came, it had the lyrics, which are very nicely put in like a story fashion rather than a standard lyric layout, which were nice. But just little lines in there just made me think about how he lives between the two, and he's obviously traveling to his presumably be with his girlfriend and that. And yeah, I think that's what there might be a bit of that in there. I would say.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think a few people said that when they first played it live as well, when we just had the YouTube versions to go off. That was the lyric that people,
I stayed away from it, So this is like the other day was the first time I've heard it because I stayed away from those. So I mean, I played it for a second and I heard the guitar and I went, no, I like that. I'm going to wait. So I knew it was going to be funky, but no, it's not one of my. Look, it's that thing again. I so far I've enjoyed every song on this album to a lot of extent. So me said it's not one of my favorites in the way that it's more a song I expect them to make in a way, rather than some of the others have surprised me. It doesn't make me go like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. I could fully have seen them making this perhaps, but but no, nothing bad about it. Great tune.
When I first watched the live videos of it from the festivals they played and everything, I must admit I was a bit underwhelmed. There didn't seem to be as much going on, but this brings me on very nicely to my hot take.
Really? You're doing a hot take?
I threw on you about an hour and a half ago. Say, I'm doing a hot take, mate. I'm doing a hot take. And I'm doing the information action ratio. Deal with it.
That's why.
Red hot revelation off the tip of her tongue.
Very exciting.
Yeah, so my hot take is that because I was underwhelmed by that version, and then I was also quite underwhelmed by the live version that the band released as a video. And it wasn't until hearing the studio version that I really thought, yeah, this is for me. So my hot take is we're essentially getting 2 albums here, because the band have made it clear that they're not really into the idea of touring with an orchestra.
Yeah.
A couple of interviews over the last month or two. So we're basically, and all these songs that they play live are going to have different arrangements to what they've got on the record.
Yeah.
Exciting, amazingly.
I think that's spot on, and I think I would back that up with I would back that up for you with the way that they obviously do Body Paint live differently, and the way that the guy on the keys, forgot his name now, but the fellow on the key, the way he has reenacted the strings on the keys is almost perfect. It's great, and I heard them talking about how they've just figured out how to do big ideas and sculptures and stuff like that. So I would agree that we're getting different live, and in fact, I had the same thing as you, where I didn't hear it live on those YouTube ones, but I heard the track version, and I heard the live version they posted with the video first. Went on Tuesday, and then someone said to me, "Oh, it's on Spotify," so I went and listened to it, and I preferred the studio track. But then when I went back and listened to the live track after hearing the studio track, I then thought the live one was really good, which was the opposite. I had to like Body Paint, but yeah, no, I think you're right. I think because, and this kind of lends as well into what you could have said was a hot take, that this is like them graduating as musicians, because they've had to really work at making these songs different live to make them work, which always makes an album more crafted in the studio. Because if it was just like a live recording or stuff, then I think they had the same thing with AM as well, a little bit, where they like songs like Why Do You Want to Call Me Way High and stuff. They had to kind of try and recreate that because the instruments had been changed so much in the recording process to make different sounds that it were difficult to capture it. But yeah, no, I think you are bang on, and I would love to go and see them perform just these songs at one of those gigs where they just do this song. And I would like to see them with an orchestra at one point, like do like the Proms or something like Shadow Puppets did, and just have them just was a one-off. I would like that, but I don't think it takes anything away from it, and I think it's cool they're not doing that because it is a bit cliche, isn't it? A little bit. Yeah. I think they said, and I think they've done it accurately, they've said they didn't want to just do the whole rock band with an orchestra sound that other bands Muse do quite a lot. And I think they've nailed that the strings aren't just on there, they're very much a part of every song as much as the rest of the band are.
Absolutely. Look at that. We've both offered hot takes and we've both agreed with each other's hot takes. It's definitely Christmas.
It is, yeah. Christmas, it's AM day. It's even better.
Yeah. crack out the nuts and pass us that nutcracker. We're gonna have a Satsuma as well. It's going mental. Right, track 3, and from canvassing opinion online, this is very popular very early on from what I have seen. This is Sculptures of Anything Goes.
Marble stairs leading to almost wherever you want them to.
I'm just going to say 2 words to you, mate, and see if you agree. Stranger Things.
I see. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking about one of our regular listeners that's a good friend of mine is a huge Muse fan, and I was just thinking about his face when he hears me do that when he's on the tube home listening to this in about 2 hours. It's going to be fantastic.
We've just lost a listener. Nice one, mate.
Nah, he's got to. He can't go anywhere. But I'm not apologising though. But yeah, no, absolutely. I hear what you're saying. That I hear that completely. In there, I actually thought, and said friend that I just referenced a good, sort of said it as well. Like 9 Inch Nails, a bit in there as well, something like that. Yeah, Trent Reznor-esque. You would definitely say in there. Don't know why I said that so aggressive.
Nick Cave as well. yeah.
He feels like an aggressive. He's like no, but he feels like kind of you say his name in an aggressive way. Don't you? Trent Reznor. I mean, his band's called 9 Inch Nails, so you know.
That's
yeah, really atmospheric. So I think that's where the Stranger Things, like I know what you mean, that kind of 80s sci-fi, like horror vibe. I felt straight away when I heard it, like Do I Want to Know esque without the guitar. There's definitely a bit of AM in there, absolutely.
AM bleeds through a lot into this album, I think.
Yeah, I think it does, and people like definitely the A side more than the B side, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. And this one in particular, I mean, very 80s as well. Reminded me a lot of Depeche Mode, which is funny if you watch our dance floor episode out next week. And you'll see why, yeah. But really reminded me of Depeche Mode. Was not expecting this. Out of all the songs, this is the one that surprised me the most because the singles had given me kind of maybe a little bit of an idea of what we were going to get, and this one just was like, oh right, no, this never thought this was going to be on there, like in any way. Like I'd say it's not like any of the others. Not to say it doesn't fit. I think it does fit for some reason. It doesn't make sense why it fits, but it's not like any of the rest of the album, is it? But it still works. Best falsetto he's ever done? Would you say that?
Yes, it's absolutely. I nearly did that in a falsetto then. Yeah. Yes, that novel you've been working on. Yeah, it's absolutely. It's very, very jarring as well. For track 3 on an album, you kind of settle in with the first 2 tracks, and then you get this, and you think you have to kind of like get up and have a pace about for a bit. When we say about like how the AM album is kind of leaked into this a lot, that's something the band said in the build-up as well, that you can kind of see the connection. And when they were saying that, it always reminds me of, when the Harry Potter films are coming out, and every single one, they'd have interviews with like the main kids in it, and they'd be like, oh, this is the funniest one yet. There's a lot of funny moments in this. And then you watch it, and it's just one scene with like mince pies. And it being dead awkward. And you're like, I've been shortchanged, but in this case, I was not shortchanged.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this one wasn't. I'd seen all the reviews sort of saying this one were like going to be like one of the best ones, but I just would never have expected this sound from it in any stretch of the imagination. Bit of sci-fi again in the lyrics. I don't want to be like dead air while I try and find the lyrics, but I know there was some. But also the spies, I said the sort of 70s spy thriller-esque at the start. It references spies in a great line in this. But yeah, great lines in there. My favorite line, though, I have to say, I can't remember what the sci-fi I was banging on about was, but there we go. Maybe it's the sound I was going. Actually, yeah, it was the sound I made that note about, the sci-fi sound, which you've already referenced with Stranger Things, obviously. But my favorite lyric is there's a line where he says, wondering if your mother ever thinks of me. And it made me think of maybe because with Mirrorball potentially being about a breakup on one side of it. Do you ever have that way? Because I've been in a few long relationships where you'll sometimes think about that relationship that's ended and you think, I wonder if their family still thinks about me. I've thought that before. Yeah, but not in a good, positive way for sure. But I think, but I was like, I wonder if the family, and that's what I got from that line was when he says, "I wonder if your mother ever think of me." It was like that kind of a breakup in that. I wonder if your mother still thinks of me. Yeah, and it's probably not that, but that's just where I took from it.
It's either that or a very sophisticated your mum joke, and I'm happy with either.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. It might be. Yeah. Wonder if you ever. Oh no, that's great. Yeah, shits, I love them. I thought I said something really insightful, but then you. No. I think you're right. Maybe it's both. Let's go for both. Alex likes to have two meanings.
Yours was insightful. Mine was just basically your mum. So,
no, but I think you're right. I didn't think of it that way. I think you're right. I think because he likes to do that, be a bit cheeky. So I think you're right. That could be a like a posh way of doing a mum joke, you know. Best the music in this again, just the way it builds throughout when the strings float in and out. Perfect. Yeah, really. Just I'd read before that the strings like kind of come in and out throughout it in the right places and stuff, and that's absolutely bang on. There's just definitely a favorite. And like on first listen, it stood out as the favorite. But it's great track. It's going to be one of them. I'd love to see them open with this as well. It'd also be good in the middle of a set though as well. Nice little vibe.
Well, it's going to be my next thing. I was going to say a lot of people are very intent on seeing this song live.
Yeah,
but I've got a horrible feeling it'll end up being like the world's first ever monster truck front flip. Another one of my favourites that they didn't play live.
I don't think so, because I reckon they know it'll have a good vibe live. I think the sufferers on this one we'll get to them that might suffer on this one being performed live will be other ones. I don't know. I could see them trying to cram all these in because they've clearly got a great love for this one more than others, I'd say, from the way they talk about it. But I'd be happy with them to cram them in. But no, I think this one's got a maybe start of the encore as well. Could be there, yeah. And then like I could imagine this one. It's like with Do I Want to Know in it. It's like you could imagine this one, and then a 2-second pause, and then Brian Storm drums come in. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that contrast that they like. I could see that. I think you'll hear it.
That's how I like evaluate new songs that are here. I just wait for the end, and then I think, would they sound good with the Brian Storm drums coming after? If they do, it goes on the playlist.
Yeah, it goes in the bin. Taylor, I hope you listen to that. Better have your A game. Love it.
So we will move on to. I can see why people are very excited about that track, though. And as a last little thing, I got kind of Ultravox Vienna vibes as well.
I think if the whole album was like this, people would have had the people that don't like it might have had a more positive reaction to it. I think the A side is more palatable to a commercial audience than the B side. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, the B side rewards you for sticking with the.
Yeah, the B side, like Tranquility Base, you need multiple listens to get. But the A side is viscerally, like I said about AM, or we both said that AM's the album that it was viscerally good, but Tranquility was one that was rewarded by multiple listens. And I think the track A and track B both do that on this, which is cool.
Indeed, very cool, very cool. We shall now move on to track number 4, which not only have I prepared stuff for, but I have a little bit of background with some clips ready, and we've found that it's not the first mention of jet skis in the Arctic Monkeys universe, haven't we, Dan? So we'll come on to that.
One of my shower ideas.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it, actually?
Everyone's showering and bathing with this podcast. It's getting silly now.
Maybe we've got that effect on people. They just want to get themselves clean after they've listened to us.
Yeah. I'm going to get mine run now, I think.
Didn't recognize you through the smoke. Pajama pants and a Subutio cloak. You know that it's alright. You wanna cry. Is there something on your mind?
I'm gonna blast through my thoughts with this one so that you can get to your clips because you've prepared more. And I'm conscious that but obviously really funky. When I first listened to it, I weren't a huge fan of it, if I'm honest. Not that I disliked it, but it just didn't click with me straight away. And then it were before, and I was cooking something, and I was listening to it, and it suddenly clicked. I was having a little dance and now I really love it. But maybe you need to be cooking. If anyone can't get into it, try cooking and listening, and you might be onto something there. But I can imagine listening to it in like a jazz soul bar or something. It makes me just want to like have a few whiskeys, sit in a booth, and watch the lead singer kind of freak out on stage singing to this. I thought the chorus was quite melodic with the whole like paint job dries bit, very melodic. Again, very Bowie, Young Americans, but also Bowie Berlin trilogy. I thought a couple of there maybe
as well,
more not more like Heroes, more like maybe Heroes as well, like Sound and Vision type. Not that it sounds like that, but that album. Give me that vibe, some of the music in it. Yeah, if what I'd say about this one is if Mirrorball makes me dance like this, as I said, as this for the people watching on video, then this one would make me raise my arms a couple of inches and be like, that.
Okay,
That's what I'm going to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's the Mirrorball there, this there. That's what I'm saying. Anyone like I can't dance, by the way, to anyone. Not that you haven't realised that already, but the wah wah is sublime. The little instrumental bit before the last verse and chorus is fantastic, and the last line was my favourite, which is jet skis on the moat. They shot it all in CinemaScope as though it's the last time you're gonna ride. Really love that. Yeah, enjoyed that. Over to you with your clips.
Yeah, well, as you,
hey,
yeah, it's all been happening. Well, you sent me a message earlier today saying I'm sure they mentioned jet skis in an interview years ago, and you think, well, I seem to remember something as well, Dan, but I think you're being very vague there, and you'll have no chance of finding that. 5 minutes later, bang, the link pops up into my inbox. So this is from the AM tour where they were in Canada before the show, and Alex and a very distracted Matt are being interviewed on a boat, and some passers-by have a few words.
It's a great description.
Again,
that might even been you.
I know it was him actually.
I've
probably used it as well. Yeah. Since
agree with that.
These guys are just living dream here. Jet ski to go fishing on. That's great. Arctic Monkeys, man. The Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, nice, man. Cool.
Yeah. Enjoy your day.
I don't think they know who you are.
Are you there?
You bet. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Do you think? No, it's just a coincidence, isn't it? Or Alex would say, "It's coincidence." Whatever he did. Yeah, it's coincidence. Sort of half said the word. No, did you think? Do you think there's anything? Nah, they can't have been thinking about that, surely. Or maybe he had. You never know with that bloody.
It's fitting with the fictional character line off Ultra Cheese as well. That's also on one of Matt's old. But well, when we get to meet him, this is what we'll ask him. And they'll be very annoyed by us straight away.
I mean, if that's something that would stay with you, I mean, I don't know. It would stay with me if someone on a jet ski did that as a funny story, but I don't have the exciting life that they have. So, some memories will get pushed away. That would be a memory I'd have forever, but maybe not if I were them. But it might have came through on the forefront, and depends kind of what you think, if the song kind of links to anything like that. But yeah, no, but it's a nice little nugget of information to have. Yeah.
And talking of nice little nuggets, the lyric that's jumped out at me the most in my 5 or 6 listens is in this song, and it's pajama pants and a Subbuteo cloak. Now, for those not aware, Subbuteo is a tabletop football game in which players simulate association football by flicking miniature players with their fingers. The name is derived from the Neo-Latin scientific name Falco Subbuteo, a bird of prey commonly known as the Eurasian hobby, after a trademark was not granted to its creator, the unfortunately named Peter Adolf, to call the game hobby. Playing Subbuteo is a physical simulation of association football involving dexterity and skill in flicking the playing figures, which stand on weighted bases across the tabletop pitch towards the ball. What makes the game different from most other tabletop sports and games are the hundreds of team kits and accessories. Subbuteo has several hundred team designs, almost all representing real teams, with the notable exception of comic book legends Melchester Rovers. Whilst there are many famous teams such as Chelsea, Man City and Real Madrid, these were complemented by many unique sides such as Boston Minutemen, Landskrona and Hartford Bicentennials, and even unpainted models. There are also many additional accessories such as new balls and goals, special figures for free kicks and throw-ins, stands and crowd, linesmen, ball boys, streakers, don't see them anymore, and policemen, floodlights, TV cameras, and even a mini Her Majesty the Queen to present the FA Cup. After Hasbro bought John Waddington in 1994, Subbuteo sales declined from about 150,000 sets per year to 3,000 in 2002, and just 500 sets in 2003 when production was stopped. It's since been relaunched a number of times, but the kids of today are obviously more interested in the Tamagotchis and the MySpaces, aren't they, and all that stuff. Now, you're probably thinking that Arctic Monkeys are the first band to ever mention Subbuteo in a song, right? wrong. Two bands that have both been previously mentioned on this show have both beaten the lads to it. Dan, do you want to have a little guess?
Is one of them
Two
Cabbage?
bands... It is not. No, sorry, it's not.
Okay. Previously mentioned. It's not us, was it?
Somebody's digging there.
Yeah, thank God. Dead and buried. No, Sleaford Mods.
I wouldn't know. I don't listen to that racket. But
Neither do I. But you mentioned them the other day, so
maybe they have. But I'm not going to delve that deep into their discography. You are going to kick yourself when you see it's two bands that have been mentioned. The first one, Dan, is this. No, they're getting further away now. Yeah. I love that of all the other non-Arctic Monkey stuff that we've mentioned in the last few weeks.
I can't think.
It's Will Smith that jumps out at you.
It's Arctic Monkeys Day. Leave me alone. It's Christmas Day.
It's the band you were seeing the first night you were given the Beneath the Boardwalk CD, mate.
Oh, it's the Undertones.
It is, and it's this, My Perfect Cousin.
Even at the age of 10, Snapper Kevin was a smart boy then. He always beat me at a birdie roll. That's he fed the cake, and I didn't know. Oh, my perfect cousin, what I'll ever do, he doesn't. His family's pride and joy, his mother's little golden boy.
I bet no one expected that today, did they?
No, and least of all me. But that's a nice through line to my life, I guess. Life listening to Arctic Monkeys.
Exactly. And the other band who did it, which Undertones would have done it first, because that would have been late 70s, early 80s, and this next one is mid 80s. My second favourite band in the world. It's Half Man, Half Biscuit who did it second.
So he'd send his doting mother up the stairs with the step ladders to get the Subutio out of the loft. He had all the accessories required for that big match atmosphere, the crowd and the dugouts and the floodlights too. And you know he's get palmed off with a headless centre forward and a goalkeeper with no arms and a face like his.
Now, you got two bands there that have both mentioned Subutio in songs, and they're both big favourites.
What year was that?
Of John Peel. That was like 1985, I
Didn't think they were that old.
band.
I thought they were quite a new-ish, like 20 years band.
No, they've been going.
I don't know much.
First couple of albums were like late 80s, and then they split up in the early 90s, and they gave the reason as musical similarities, which I thought
Nice.
was
That's
very
good.
nice. I
That's a
split
good
up and
line.
got back together, and they're more perfect than ever now. Yeah. But those two songs have kind of they're both like romanticizing Subutio. As someone who longed for it as a child, it was shit. Just file it alongside Scale Electric, which is also mentioned in that Half Man Half Biscuit song, as just you'd have this tremendous build up all the way to Christmas, and then Christmas Day had come, and by the time the Queen's doing a speech, it's broken and thrown away because it just never worked as intended. A friend of mine at primary school had Subutio. It was his dad's from the 70s. His dad had passed all this Subutio stuff down to him. So he had the pitch and everything. He had the stands at the side. He had terraces full of fans, police horses, absolutely everything. Snap vans, like a bar, absolutely everything. And then his dad had passed down to him a little turntable with a vinyl record that was the sounds of Subutio. And you'd put this on while you were playing your little football match on the Subutio there. And it was meant to like mimic a real crowd. But all the crowd would shout would be, Subutio! Subutio! It's just like going to an actual football match and just going, football! But yeah, Subutio is so shit. One of the things that you build up and it's just absolutely awful.
Well, and Alex wore it as the pitch as a cape.
Yes, which is just a great image.
Bizarre image.
And it's also given me, because Halloween's coming up, so it's given me a good fancy dress idea.
Yeah.
Pajama pants and a Subutio cloak, yeah.
Speaking of Halloween, as like this room's got darker, I've become more sinister with this mirror ball, I feel like it's become slowly more Well, sinister the image that I'm presenting.
It's a life choice that you're going to live to regret.
Yeah.
It's going to look like I'm interviewing someone who used to be in the SAS or something. After his face, we're going to have to like put your voice through one of these scrambler things.
Yeah, we killed them all. Yeah, so, I might crack a light for another minute. But no, actually, you know what? It's Mirrorball Day. Right, well, I'm conscious that we're coming up to an hour and we're still not even on the B side of this final. So we better crack on, haven't we? And swiftly move on. Keep it to an actual instant reaction, I suppose. This is how good this band is. We can't even keep it down. How good.
Yeah, literally and metaphorically.
I'm watching your every move. I feel the tears are coming on. It won't be long. It won't be long. Straight from the cover shoot, steal a trace of body paint.
Nice. Another favourite.
Again, Bowie's going to come up. I don't feel like it's as easy to pinpoint which Bowie I'm referencing with this one, but it's definitely there. And also, I recently did a deep dive of all Elton John's stuff, and there's a lot of that in there, I'd say. But yeah, love this one. The piano hook is like a proper earworm. Strings are beautiful. The breakdown reminds me of Eleanor Rigby. Don't know if you got that. Yeah, really made me think of it a lot. When the guitar comes in as well in that almost like glam rock way with the strings as well, it's just sublime. Yeah, I do think the live version is better though, from what I've seen. Yes, particularly that Fallon one as well. I think he sang really well on that Fallon one, particularly had more of an impact than this one. So it leads credits to your hot take. This one even more, but it
does.
But yeah, absolute tune.
The only favourite of mine, and even having listened to the album a few times, it's still the one that's jumping out the most at me, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm just going to crack a light on because it is getting a bit weird.
They've seen the for those watching on the video, they're seeing all the
There we go, people. I'm back.
Stunning stuff.
This is what you pay for. You want to keep this in the dark. I think is this like very much we don't want to get into anything personal, as we never do, but about an affair, perhaps. Don't want to speculate on whose affair that was, but body paint as a metaphor for an affair, that the other person's body on you, their like
stench.
I was gonna say stench, but I didn't want to say it. Like they're say excrement. Then that would be the right word. Wouldn't it? Yeah, their scent on you is like fucking incredible as a metaphor. When I realized that's what it was, I was like, oh. Also, the using the time traveling through the tanning booth is an absolute line to say, like trying to de-age yourself through a fake tan through a tan is how I took that, and so the sun won't catch you crying. What a great line!
Which is it's a song by Jerry and the Pacemakers, who will be more famous. Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying is a song by them. They'll obviously be more famous for You'll Never Walk Alone amongst most people. I think was their big song. Yeah. That's the first thing I spotted when I listened to that. Yeah, good, very good band. They kind of get dismissed because of You'll Never Walk Alone, and that's the only one anyone knows. But yeah, they've got some very good stuff. But they were at it prior to the Beatles as well.
Nice little song. Yeah, I have to go back and listen to that because I'm sure if he's referencing it, it's got an impact on this then. My favourite line on this, though, is just a classic Alex line of one of those moments again where he'll show you something about himself and then go back to his mystique. And if you're thinking of me, then I'm probably thinking of you, which again made me think of that kind of past relationship ex thing where, like, you know, if you're maybe someone that you're pining for or something, you know, if you're thinking of me, then I'm probably thinking of you. Great. Classic Alex, that, I'd say, is a line. That's like a suck it and see line type.
That'd definitely be my That'd definitely be my MSN screen name, like circa 2000.
Yes,
Without a doubt, like, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the perfect one. Yeah, great tune. I think the live version does have more of an impact, particularly vocally and stuff. And I can't wait to hear it live.
That is the song I'm most looking forward to hearing live. I think, yeah, especially with the way they're constantly altering it and constantly making it something new. I think with the few live performances they've done of it already, it's kind of taken on a new life every time. They've added elements to it, so it'd be interesting to see how it progresses by the time the summer comes around.
Absolutely, can't wait.
I for one cannot wait.
Backstage interviewing them, hopefully.
Yeah, God, imagine. Oh God, and they're probably just thinking like, yeah, we'll get these backstage to interview us, and now because you've said that, you've just damaged it all. You've
edit it out. We're not live.
Let's just listen to the title track. This is track 6, and this is The Car.
Trying to adjust to what's been there all along. The boat kiosk lady and her sleepy amigo. But it ain't a holiday.
Lovely. One of the ones that I didn't instantly connect to, not because I didn't like it, but because I just felt it needed more of a listen than a one-off listen, when you first hear it. But reminds me of like 70s acoustic stuff, but then also again like a soundtrack to an old movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think as well, if you swap the lyrics out of this and put different ones in, you've potentially got a great Bond song, like as well in there. Yeah. Although some of the lyrics actually allude to that. Well, I think there's one in particular that alludes to kind of a spy or the again, here's me in dead air trying to find the lyrics, and I didn't want to like mark them down on this beautiful vinyl sleeve, but no, I'll let you. Yeah, sweep him for bugs in some dusty apartment was the one that I saw as that. But yeah, no, I feel like the strings at the end as well really gave me like the end to a film vibes. Like I could imagine like a car driving off down a dusty road with a broken man looking on as it goes out.
This is getting very personal.
I wasn't the broken man. I'm fine. But I feel like I need to get under the skin of this one a bit more with more listens still. I'm not fully like, I feel like there's a lot more to be dug up with this one, but yeah, no, but it really just gave me that filmy vibe particularly. And favorite line would be, but it ain't a holiday until they force you to make a wish. As someone who hates having to like do things that other people find fun on holidays, I saw a little bit of that in there, like, forced fun on you, making you do something like, let's go paragliding. No, thank you. Yeah.
I also got on a similar line. I kind of got an image of, when it's your birthday and they plonk a cake in front of you and everyone in the room sings to you and you just don't, again, forced fun.
Yeah, forced fun.
New Year's Eve. You really want a cake that I've just spat all over? Really? Is that what we're all aiming for? Yeah, on this track, The Car, I've got down that it kind of continues that spaghetti western theme that started with the Ennio Morricone sample on 505. That was where they kind of first did that, and then I think Age of the Understatement, Rather Shadow Puppets, is very spaghetti western as well.
It's funny you bring that up. How we're going to talk about that on the 505 episode that we'll eventually do, but I'll probably talk about it again then anyway. But because that's true, because I didn't actually know that that was from that, and then I watched that film and I was like, that sounds like 505. And like years ago, and I was like, oh, but yeah, very because you've said Morricone, very Tarantino-y as well, and you can imagine him liking it, and something that I'll get to in a bit as well with that. But obviously he's someone that samples Morricone a lot as well. So yeah, really, this is probably maybe one of the most filmic ones where I can actually imagine, rather than having film vibes, I could imagine this in a film more than any of the others. Yeah, which is something I've never really had before with them. It's interesting.
Yeah, they're really going all out for that Bond theme, aren't they?
I hope they fucking get it. New
hope so. I
Bond.
really
Arctic
hope
Monkey's
so.
doing it. Come on. Have Alex as the
Yeah.
new Bond. No, Jamie.
Jamie is the new
Cook
one.
is-
Just getting really angry.
Yeah, the name's Cook. Jamie Cook.
Jamie Cook on the electric guitar, ladies and gentlemen.
that man's got a book in like me, myself, and Irene.
Any excuse to bring that up. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, no, I really love this one a lot.
Yeah.
But I
think
just
it's-
need
it's-
more. I need more listens to like make it like I think it's got for me it's got the potential to be one that I'm going to absolutely adore after a few more listens, but I'm just not quite there yet.
Same. I think this is the one where you have to really put your teeth in and chew. I'd say.
Very nice.
Good way to mark.
You could say
you could too as well, isn't it?
You could say you have to suck on it to release the gold in the middle, like a humbug. You might say.
You could, yeah, but there'd be no references in that. So
no references to anything in that.
Right, shall we move on to track number 7 of 10? This is Big Ideas.
I had big ideas, the band was so excited, the kind you'd rather not share over the phone. But now the orchestra's gathered all surrounded, and I cannot for the life of me remember how they go.
Yeah, this is my favorite. I'll get that out there now. I said Mirrorball was his best vocal performance before, but then again, there's this one. So I don't know. This, yeah, absolutely my favorite. Like after a couple of listens, I knew. Again, the way the strings float in and out. Again, very Bond-esque. Certainly. With this one, rather than a car driving away, looking on a forlorn, broken man that isn't me, maybe after 3 more beers, I could imagine a shot panning round an ocean for this one. Was when I listened to it.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah, I could just imagine that. Like, as some credits roll, you know, when old films used to start with the credits. That's the kind of the vibe I get. So cinematic. Right, so I think we got a clip for this, but the music even sounds like, for me, I'm not saying it is, but if anybody watches, as I was watched, Inglourious Bastards, then I think it reminds me of this, the strings in particular. And I don't quite know what I mean by that, saying it sounds like it, but it just did remind me of, I think it's that Frenchy, is that a good term? French score.
It is now.
Frenchy score. Yeah, they just reminded me of it. And I can't quite put my finger on why. It was just very reminiscent of it, I felt. So yeah.
It's the way that the strings swell for me. That kind of has a similarity. Yeah, that's it for me. As soon as you sent me that link, I was like, yeah, straight away I knew what you meant.
Yeah, and I just think this is just this is an epic song. I just like, and the fact that they figured out how to do it live is promising because I really want to hear this live. The guitar though that comes back in brings it back to that 70s vibe as well though, so it doesn't lose itself completely in the cinematic nature of its parts. Ooh, that was good. Just off the cuff, that was off the cuff. That weren't my notes. So beautiful. My favorite line, which is one of Alex's kind of one of those cool lines he does. I had big ideas. The band were so excited, the kind you'd rather not share over the phone. I think that like that excitement of having an idea and wanting to share it with someone, but not over the phone. It's got to be in person. Is a cool idea, and it's that thing that he does where he has all this cinematic music and he's got these mysterious lyrics that have all these dual meanings, and then he just throws something really like mundane and relatable in there all of a sudden that you get, and you're like, it made me laugh, that line. But yeah, my favorite. Yeah, I think
I don't think you're on your own in that one as well. Because obviously, there's been a live version of this floating about for a couple of weeks that I
Yeah.
decided to avoid because I didn't want to know like nearly half of the album. And so this has been a favourite for a lot of people for a while. And having listened like the last couple of days, you can see why. It's absolutely epic. Another one that will be absolutely fantastic live if it makes the cut. I'm looking forward to a boozy, swayy encore with some of these songs. I tell you.
Yeah, that's the vibe, innit? Like, you know, like a little bit mid-set, little bit of like that again. I'm doing that again. Look at it. The people listening on the podcast are really missing out on this. Get to Instagram. But yeah, no, I just think it's an epic tune. I think maybe one of the best artistic masterpieces they've created to date, in my opinion. Yeah, no fault. The perfect song for me. No other faults with it.
No notes.
No notes for them. No, Alex. I think if you'd maybe, I do have one note. I do have one note at the end, but you know, I'll say it quietly in a dark room. I'll turn the lights off and say it. But not for that one. For the whole album. But you know, we'll get there. But yeah,
I have a note for Alex for Arabella, but we're still a few years off. No, not Arabella. It's number one party anthem. Sorry, I have a note for him that we'll get to in about 5 years' time.
See me after class.
yeah. So we've got the total of 2 notes for Alex. Right. So that the next track is track 8, and it is the magnificently titled "Hello You."
Still dragging out a long goodbye. I ought to apologize for one of the last times.
I love
Alex, you had me at hello you. We're waiting days to say that. Yeah, I think this feels like a perfected version of science fiction from Tranquility. With a sprinkling of humbug on top.
Yeah, I was going to say the science fiction thing as well, but with I'm just trying to think of the song. There's a song off AM that it's I'm gonna look and check because it's just going to really annoy me.
Why are you checking? I was going to say that the not Northern humbug part was like the keyboard that goes like do 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 in it. That's the bit that made me think of humbug. Made me think of there's a song by a band called The Blossoms on the first album that I always felt sounded humbuggy, that keyboard, because I always felt they were a little bit humbuggy in that first album in parts, and then I've heard it back now on this, which is funny to see the inspiration swirl around. But yeah, it's very much that vibe, I'd say. Have you remembered the AM track?
The AM track.
Actually, I think I know.
Go on.
Can I say it? Because I've got it in my notes here. So at the end, when the guitar comes in, I thought there was a little shudder of fireside as it goes out.
Well, there's that at the end, but in terms of the riff that you hear through the song, it's very One for the Road for me.
Oh, I get that. It's there. Yeah. They've still got that little hip hop like in there, aren't they?
That is almost just all the albums kind of blended into one. That track, I think.
Yeah, it's like a bit, like I say, perfected version of science fiction with humbug in there, but with a funky underbelly too. I thought. I'd say great falsetto again in the last few lines. Strings are cinematically scrumptious again. Yeah, but what I do love is so there's my favorite lyric, and there's kind of a couple of lyrics that link together that make me laugh because it's classic Alex. Like, you know, I said before in the last track about the mundane coming in like out of nowhere. So he says what is a great quote. It's like a quote. He says, "At that meandering chapter reaches its end and leaves us in read the message I left." Oh no, sorry. As the meandering chapter reaches its end and leaves us in a thoughtful little daze, this electric warrior's motorcade shall burn no more rubber down the boulevard. Read the message I left on the thank you card. And you're like, whoa, what a line. But then he goes, picking your moment along a country lane, the kind where the harmonies feel right at home. And it's overtaking a tractor, waiting for sets of winds and bends to level out again. So he brings it right back to like mundaneness after such a great line. And then at the end, he says, I've snorkeled on the beaches fruitlessly. Why not rewind to Rawborough Snooker Club, which I feel like is a line that's going to be mined forever. But he's just got that way of just doing something like that sounds like magical, and then he pulls it back to like shit town Britain. Do you know what I mean? An away day or something.
Reference in particular, that's where he used to go with his granddad to play snooker back around the time of the first album. Yeah, and there is. I think it's a working men's club type thing. One of those. It's one of those pubs with a flat roof, I'd imagine.
Well, his granddad gets referenced in the car, doesn't he? Someone's granddad does.
And there is also a snooker reference in the video for.
And I don't know if you know this, but in American sports, his granddad gave him. He was visiting his granddad in his home where he lives, and
trainer's explanation was accepted by the steward,
which is a line from a horse racing or something, isn't it? And he heard that. And his granddad's getting about in these albums.
I know. Yeah. Well, around the line about the trainer's explanation and the steward and everything. Around that time, I actually started working at a bookmaker's. Around the time that album came out, I was working at William Hill. So actually hearing this phrase like constantly during the day, and then it popped up on a song, it felt like it's a great line. Real private joke. Yeah.
But this one, like I said, there's just something about the guitar at the end that made me think of Fireside when it comes in. It has little spurts of Fireside in it as it goes out. Love it. Love this one. I thought this was going to be my favorite because on the reviews, everyone kept saying it was the best one.
Same.
So I just assumed, and then obviously I heard Big Ideas, and I was like, "What were they talking about? This is magical." But I'm just gonna have to plug my laptop in. You know what? I'll make a note of the time to edit out, or you can leave it in. Maybe they want to see it. Maybe you can talk for a minute. You could play Mr. Schwartz, I guess.
Yeah. Let's move on to track 9. Well, Dan goes and plugs his laptop in, Buddy Technology. This is track 9, Mr. Schwartz.
Mr. Schwartz is staying strong for the crew. Wardrobe lint roll in your velveteen suit, and smudging dubbing on your dancing shoes. And if we guess who I'm pretending to be.
I would have did that in 29 seconds. I'll never know.
That was immense. It's not the first time he said that, is it? Absolutely magnificent.
Oh, with this album on in the background.
Yeah. Did you get Echo and the Bunnymen, the Killing Moon vibes from that?
Yeah, sorry. You know what I just realised? Like for everyone listening, I have a Mac, and I always say I don't have enough balls on it, and I've got a little adapter for the plug. And I just realised there is an earphone socket on the side, and I've never noticed it before. Well, that's it. Anyway, a little bit behind the scenes of what moron I am for everyone there. Sorry, which song did you reference then? Because I heard you say it, and I thought you were right.
Yeah, so Mr. Schwartz, and I think it was very Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen.
Great song.
Some type of tempo and beat to it, I thought. I liked it.
Yeah, it would be at home in Donnie Darko, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think actually with time, because this is another one like the car that I feel I need a little bit more time to get under the bonnet with. But I think in time, I might end up realizing this is the most beautiful song they've written. I think when it's given the time, it reminds me a bit of the Kinks, Well Respected Man or something like that, that kind of vibe, which is my favorite Kinks song. If anyone listen, there's something there I can't put my finger on, which maybe sums it up a lot. But like, there's little niggles this album has given me that I want to explore, and this song's got a lot of them in there. I think I was channeling Alex then for a moment when I said that. But yeah, very 60s though. Made me think, this one more than anything made me think about how they recorded it in the country. I feel like that comes through, that kind of English countryside. Feels very English village, but with a backdrop of the French Riviera. Which when I wrote that line in my notes, I went, that's the best thing I'm ever going to do in my life.
You can definitely see both islands now, mate.
Way, woo. Third Dancing Shoes reference in this one.
Yes.
So obviously the song Dancing Shoes gets referenced in One of the songs.
All My Own Stunts.
All My Own Stunts, yeah, off my favourite album, should have known that. And then this is the third reference, yeah. So maybe he does it every every 2 albums.
Or maybe it's just a
Actually, that's
trilogy,
it.
and this has closed it.
This is it. This is the closers. The melodicness of the Mr. Schwartz line gets me as well. But I do think this is going to offer me so much more soon. And when the strings enter even more, so you get back to that Bond vibe straight away. I think again.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite. There was a line that I really liked, which was. He says, it's like your little directorial debut, which I liked. Yeah. No, got nothing about it. Just I liked it.
Yeah, especially the way he enunciates it as well. I think it's a pattern in his singing anyway. But yeah, the way he chooses to trip over the patterns of it. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I love that line as well. Love the song. Love the album. Love the band.
Yeah, do you?
Right, yeah.
Thought you were obsessed with Taylor Swift. So sadly, unless you've got anything else to say on Mr. Schwartz, but I do feel like it's one that when we come back in 3 years to actually do a deep dive, I think we'll have very different opinions of it. But shall we move on to the last track of the album?
Yes, track 10 of 10, side 2, track 5. This is Perfect Sense.
Sometimes I wrap my head around it all, and it makes perfect sense. Keep reminding me that it ain't.
Can I just say? Yeah, can I just say straight away? It just couldn't be then. I've had to try and look up the song. It reminds me a lot of an In Excess song. I think it is. It Never Tear Us Apart. Okay. Yeah. It reminds me of that a little bit. What's going on in the background of that one, which is a tune. With this one, this is probably the one I've connected least with. Not to say I don't like it. It's another one where I need more listens, but I just need to let it sink in a little bit more and absorb it, before I can make any, off the cuff. I think very Frank Sinatra-esque. I thought on some of his slow ones, or even a bit Elvis on some of his more slow ones as well. I thought on his more melodic tunes, but I just haven't quite got there with it yet. I think I really like it, and it's a good album closer. I just need a bit more with it, because it's always that last one. Maybe is the one that you kind of ignore a little bit the most for a while, and then you get there with it.
Yeah, I think it's a common theme with this album that it is a put your teeth in and chew kind of album.
Well,
just
particularly
like
the B-side.
Yeah,
like we said, the B-side is very much that, but I think like Big Ideas to that, and it's probably just down to the individual as well. That's when I connected with more. Like when I first listened to like The Car and Perfect Sense on the very first listen, I didn't connect with them at all, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about them." But then, as it's gone on, I've got more and more into them. So yeah, which is good. I prefer that in an album. That's what I would like. You want to watch, so it's like watching a great film or reading a great book. You always want to find little nuggets on rewatches and stuff like that, which is exactly what I would want anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I imagine I think you've got more of a, you've connected with it more than I have already.
I think so. Not by much though. I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
I think it's again like everything. It's good. Cute new things are going to keep popping up as we keep going through these songs. So I think in a week's time, I could easily do another podcast and have like a whole load of new thoughts that didn't come to me immediately. But I'm the same as you. That's what I like in an album or a piece of art or media or entertainment. I kind of
that's what you want, right?
Put the work in and stuff. Yeah. What if I earned it and that.
If AM were like a really good blockbuster film, then Tranquility Base was a little independent film, and this one was like an Oscar-worthy film.
Yeah, one of the films that wins the Oscars that no one.
Which I'm sure. I hope Alex hears that. I hope he listens to this and hears that. He'd like that. But take me on tour. I'll be your official journalist. there's a lot like it's again with the lines like you say. I think there's a lot more to definitely be delved into with the lyrics. But so when I say I like the lyrics, it's purely on a visceral level. Like I just like the sound of it. There's one where he says, "Keeps reminding me that it ain't a race when my invincible streaks turn onto the final straight." And I just knew as soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm going to love that lyric. I'm going to decipher that with an inch of its life, find out what's there. Yeah, that's what I love about it as well. I know I'm going to study this. And that's what I like to do hence why we do this podcast. We spent years studying it. But I haven't got a lot to say. I think, though, if I'd say it more, so my criticism of the album, if I had any notes, I feel like on maybe a couple of them, they could have gone bigger at the end. And this is a common thing I have with them, actually. So like with this last one particularly, I feel like it ends quite abrupt, but it's the end song. So I always felt like I want to be yours could have carried on a bit more at the end and gone big. And I felt like, obviously they did it with 505. That's perfect. But I always felt like the last one, Ultra Cheese, well, that was all right actually, but this reminds me of "Wanna Be Yours," where I just felt this could have gone off into some big moment, and maybe they're trying to purposely not do that because they don't want to be cliche, and fair play to them if that's the case. I imagine it is, but I feel like this one ends a bit abruptly, and I feel like I ain't quite where I think I am, or I just keep getting it wrong, was also just ends, and I felt could have had a little bit more to. I mean, who am I to even say these words, this madness, but I just felt they could have gone bigger at the end, but then they never do what you expect, so why would they?
Yeah, that was it for me as well. I'm glad you mentioned Ultra Cheese in that as well, because Ultra Cheese I felt kind of like ended and left you wanting more. But that's
maybe that's good. Yeah, that's good. Like it's like when a TV show ends on like that, like a recent one like Ozarks or something, the way it ended. Better to leave you wanting more than being sick of it, isn't it? So I feel like that's probably what they've done there. I just felt there's a little bit more to be mined on Perfect Sense to have this after such a grandiose album with the strings, to have a grandiose end would have been epic. But again, they probably had this discussion and went, well, that's what people are going to expect, and it's a bit cliche. Let's not do that. Yeah. We don't want to be that typical band just having the big string end at the album. So actually, I've talked myself into going, good work, lads. Actually, ignore me. I'm a fool. This is why I'm not a sensational musician, and I just talk about sensational musicians.
yeah.
So well done, lads. But no, it's not. I'm taking it back. I've talked myself out of it quickly.
No, it's in now.
I'm indecisive.
I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure.
I was thinking there's a lyric with indecisive in, but I couldn't get it quick enough into my head. I'm sure he says indecisive in a lyric. Maybe he doesn't. Let's not have 2 minutes of silence trying to remember.
That's our homework for next week. you get to hear the outcome of that in about 6 weeks.
When we do the car, we'll have to bring it back up again. Yeah, but yeah, no. I really enjoy this album. I think it's a work of art, and I'm looking forward to continuing to drink this evening and listening to it on repeat on vinyl and mining into it and having years of studying it. And that's I don't have it no other way.
Maybe it won't be like another 4 or 5 year wait for the next album now as well. I hope they slow it down a bit because we've got a lot of podcasts to work through.
Yeah, I just put indecisive Arctic Monkeys lyric, and the lyrics to "Feels Like We're Only Going Backwards" cover has come up. So I don't know if that's
right. So so
it's actually no, it's not them though. Good cover though. But yeah, no, I sensational album so far, and it's not going to get worse, is it? It's only going to get better. So things can only get better. To give a plug to the D-Ream synopsis.
I'm sure Brian Cox is bloody loving it. The space nonce.
I guess space nonce. I can't believe you didn't give me a lot of approval for the D-Ream synopsis, which was merging.
Oh, I didn't even spot that first. I just thought you were having some.
I was hurt.
I'm sorry. I've
Don't get emotional. It ain't
felt
my
the best time.
year.
I'm already emotional. I've got a new album to listen to. Oh, two, because I've got Taylor later. Oh,
Oh, bloody hell, Taylor. So this has been the Taylor instant reaction, this, hasn't it? Anyone?
I genuinely don't think.
Hello?
I
Hello,
only really
you.
like Shake It Off and the other one. They're the only ones I like, really.
Yeah, so Nick, what's your favourite one? Let's wrap it up with what's your favourite song so far?
Just off this album.
Mine's Big
Okay,
Ideas,
oh.
as we know. Just yeah, wrap it up with your favourite song ever.
Yeah. See, that's horrible.
Mine's Big Ideas. Yeah, but no, but just it doesn't matter because this is an instant
Yeah.
cast. So yeah,
Well, early it's
I
probably
ju-
body
I-
paint, to be honest.
I just said something negative and then instantly talked myself out of it. So it's an instant.
Anything
reaction.
could happen.
Anything could happen. Yeah, no body paint. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the car for some reason. It feels very you. It feels very you. The car.
I don't think it's far off. I just need to put my teeth in and chew a bit, but I don't think. I think when you ask me next week, it probably will be a car because it's creeping up there.
Yeah.
The
Ask you in 3 years. Who knows what
Cars
it could be.
going up the hill and disappearing.
When I asked you on the
line.
car wrap-up cast before probably Arctic Monkeys 8th release, don't know, moon buggies.
Yeah.
then we'll talk about it then. But yeah, no, I'm very much enjoying it, and I hope everybody enjoyed us talking about it.
Yes. Thank you to all those who've tuned in either on the audio or the video. It's much appreciated. Do not forget you can get all our links in the episode description. Just click and all our links will be there to all the places you can listen to follow us.
And if you haven't already, because you're tuning into this because you've been looking for some car content and you're not a regular listener of ours and you liked what you heard, then you can go back. We've got an introduction episode talking about our relationship with the band, which is not existent. It's in our heads, but our actual life relationship with them. We've got an episode on the Beneath the Bulwark demos. We View from the Afternoon was this week, and coming on Wednesday, we've got I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor one as well. So yeah, if you just tuned in and found us via the interweb listening to the car stuff, then yeah, check us out. We're on it.
Yeah,
we're on the
check
full
us out and
Discog.
tell your mates. We're fucking everywhere. You can't bloody avoid us. We're gonna have to start replying to Arctic Monkeys tweets now, promoting ourselves as well. That'll be the next thing.
Run a bath and listen to us.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. Apparently, right? We will be back next Wednesday with I Bet You Look on the Dance Floor. Dan, say goodbye to the lovely people on this album release day.
Goodbye, you lovely people. On album release day.
You're in a good mood, can't you? See you, everyone. Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.